Hello and welcome to Dice on Ice. Here we're playing some Black Hack today for session 2 of Pariah. When we left off last, we were in the hall of a lord, a manor that sits upon a hill, attended to by many servants, some guards patrolling, though no more than a dozen. On your way up this manor hill, seeking perhaps employment for some nefarious task that you four are best suited for. He noted many farmers a bit grudging, a bit unnerved on their way down from his manor house, as if they received dire news, or troubling news at least. And this is almost confirmed when you had entered the actual manor house. As walking to leave, escorted out, was another farmer who's crumpling his hat, muttering under his breath, almost in half anger, half sorrow. You can find him. You hear him mumbling stuff about, but the food will rot and spoil, as he's left. And you see in front of you, up a set of stairs, flanked by some banners that fall down with the red and golds. At the center of a long table is a man whose shoulders are stooped, his body wide and heavy set. Though he seems crouched and slouched and stooped, he's taller than any other man sitting there at this table with him. There's about perhaps 7 of these men, all wearing fine regalia, noting their high status. Stewards of the manor, perhaps, though the politics of this place probably goes a bit above most of you. But I will not ever underestimate the size of this lord. He's just, it seems like the chair he's sitting in is a veritable throne made of the heaviest and thickest and sturdiest woods and irons. It's his just broadness of his shoulders is twice that of a man. He wears no beard, but his jowls almost act like one, hanging off of his face. He seems to be sweating almost slightly from this in the candlelight. His hair is a bit balding. You can see his temples are the only thing graced with hair left. His fingers are adorned with many jeweled rings. His cape and finery also gilded in places to suggest his status. He's eating perhaps the leg of a turkey and chatting in a deep voice that rumbles the earth, along with the 6 other stewards here, about various news from distant lands, affairs of the manor house itself that perhaps exceeds your base of knowledge to really comprehend what they're saying. What do you do? How do you want to act in this place? Who's leading this group? Who's in the lead, do you think?
Kendra.
Yeah, I think Kendra is leading everyone in. So we've entered the Lord's actual chamber itself, and he's greeted us, right? He's already no.
He's not greeted you. No, you may be standing there, but you notice there's just this, almost as like a sense of like ignoring you. That seems to be in the air, as they haven't even glanced at you, even out of the corner of their eyes. They're too busy feasting upon the berries and the breads and the stews and the meats on the table.
She kind of looks back over her shoulder at the 3 companions, and then looks back to the feasting lord and his people and goes, "Good morning, my lord."
You hear him chortle at a joke that you haven't said. Probably one of his advisors sitting next to him has probably said a bit of a wisecrack, and he's almost even ignoring your announcement, your pronouncement of yourself. And
Gothric will put a hand on Candra's shoulder, knowing that she doesn't like to be disrespected, and this is rude. But Gothric also knows you have to eat shit from nobles. You have to eat so much shit, and so he'll put a hand on her shoulder to be like, "Okay, we'll wait."
She just kind of roll her eyes, but nod, and look around to see maybe against the wall, like there's some stools or some spare chairs off to the side or something like that. They can go and sit in while they wait and just watch this corpulent man feast on like several months worth of food that would otherwise be that much for the villagers.
yeah, and I think in waiting here, the keen-eared among you would hear as one of the servants has brought in or taken away some of these platters. That was the last pheasant. Jeez, what more will this man eat? Though very, very hushed tones dare not let a noble hear those utterances as they hand off some cutlery and dishes between each other, these two servants. And though they continue to talk about their conversation, though it's definitely they seem to be avoiding any particularly sensitive information when they're talking in your presence, though they're definitely not giving you any attention. Just speaking of news of the horses, perhaps the stables themselves seem a bit full this time of year. Perhaps use as a perhaps the lords up north will wish them once the snow melts. And other kind of like idle remarks, and even just like talking of how the family has been, and as if they were a bunch of almost like brothers meeting in a family gathering. There's raunchy jokes being thrown at each other, barrel-chested laughs. Though there seems to be a bit of, I think the wiser, even more sensitive among you would notice that there seems to be a bit of like caution that the stewards have in the presence of this man. They seem to be twisting their tongues in a certain way, dodging questions or refraining from asking or saying certain things in a certain way, as if even they fear the dominion of this man.
Do you want me to try and get their attention?
Just before I answer that, Connor, what do the others look like? They're obviously not similarly like inhuman.
No, they're all much smaller men.
Yeah.
Your size, that is. There's one that seems a bit weaselly with a well-oiled mustache that grows farther than his cheeks would probably let it go. There's a man who seems a bit older. He's graying. Stubble shows through. He has some kind of scar down near the base of his eye and across his cheek. Another man wears just has a pompous nose, not pompous, almost like a bulbous nose. Perhaps some kind of illness has struck in it, or just maybe it's the way it's shapen. Um, Another one has a full beard, probably in his late 60s, struggling to get the broth to his lips with shaky hands. Um, and other almost, yeah.
So Kendra looks across the people sitting at the table and sees that, and Gothric asks that question. Would rather not wait too much longer. It seems his appetite is unending.
He'll nod and he'll stand and approach, sort of like with his head down, and like just walk up to the table, or I guess like the groaning table where all the food is, and he'll just begin like muttering in the what is effectively the Latin that he would know, and he'll like do these. He's not really blessing anything, but he's like doing gestures that laymen will think are blessings. And so he's like going to like this particularly rump pheasant and like, oh, and like blessing the food. And hopefully they'll look.
Definitely one of these stewards has looked up and seen you pushing the food and kind of like uh, hitting with a shoulder. The next one sitting next to him, and they both like glance and they turn to look to say something to this giant of a man. But he's in the middle of a story; you can't interrupt him. He's oh, I remember when I was just a wee lad. I used to go play in those woods all the time. Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. And you'll hear one of them, the one that noticed you, Gothric. He'll almost like hiss between your teeth, not between your teeth, between his teeth. Just like, just be polite.
I'm extremely polite. I'm trying to ensure that his lordship's food is properly seen to and blessed before he devours it. And he'll like move to like another like heaving plate of like sweet rolls and like touch each one with his like gross, dirty hands.
And I think as you go to reach for one of these sweet rolls, that's when this giant hand comes to the ground to grab about four of them from underneath you, and this big brown-eyed man would look up, and his eyes would meet yours. They look almost like tiny little orbs in his big skull from this ratio, his proportions. Get away from my buns! Back away, you dirty priest!
Of course, my lord. I thought maybe I could have a quick word with you while I'm here.
Kind of like just wipes the handkerchief, just the grease that's been forming on his in the creases of his mouth. Very well.
And he like look over his shoulder for the others to come. We have come to your splendid lordship to. Well, we've heard that there's trouble in the woods. My companion here is more knowledgeable of this than I. I am simply a representative from the barony of Weismund. He'll say, name dropping, even though he's not like a representative of any real kind. And then we'll turn to Kandra.
Yes, we came to see if we could offer our help, Lord. The troubles in the woods and the livestock being taken east. Farmers in Balway, in your lands, fear that it will soon be happening here too. And she gestures at the bounty on the table. And the food supply, of course, is critical to any village, and of course, any lordship's manor.
What do they say of me?
Oh no, nothing said of you, my lord, your lordship. They speak only of the livestock being taken.
And you'll hear one of these little stewards next to him. My lordship, it has been a reported problem. Just 4 reports this week of butchered livestock. Surely you'll heed this. His this like a little bone will kind of fly out from his spittle as he speaks and as he enunciates. I have heard, yes, of these beasts in my lands. What are you? Beast hunters?
She sort of looks back to her 3 companions and looks back with a nod. We are, your lordship.
Beast hunters from Weismund? What business does Weismund have up here?
Weismund is simply the voice of God. And so, in some sense, Weismund has business everywhere on this earth, my lord.
And we do not all hail from Weismund. Additionally, I myself am a shield eternal for the princes.
A priest, a shield eternal, and 2 beast hunters.
Yes, your lordship. We are a capable group and offer our aid if you would have it.
Sir, the morale of the people would definitely be increased if this beast was put to rest, at least the rumors thereof. Uh, it would, they would not come complaining nearly as much. You know how much that annoys you. You have a point. Bring me the head of this beast, beast hunters. I will reward you with 10 gold from my coffers.
Each very generous, my lord. Thank you.
10 for the head.
You are a funny one, my lord. It's very amusing. Very good.
I do not jest.
Oh, I see. Well, there's abundance here, as we can see from the groaning of this heavy table. Perhaps you can pay us 10 coins and a similar amount in supplies.
No.
There was some talk of the beast self being it had to cure the blood being magical, had some sort of healing properties. Is there perhaps someone that you know that requires that has some sickness difficult to cure?
The tremble-handed old man almost like coughs on his food as you say this, and he's almost as if he's taken aback by this, but trying his best to hold it down. The big lord would reply, I see. What basis do these rumors have? I am not a superstitious man. That is why I am good.
Nor are we superstitious people. In fact, this is a real beast, a monster. And so superstition has little bearing on its effectiveness. It is a creature of magical blood. The magical blood is known to have particular healing properties beyond even the miracles that I can summon.
15 for the head of the beast and its blood.
60.
Surely you jest now. 60. What does this man think? And you can see almost like a choir of half-hearted chuckles begin to erupt from the stewards, as if they're either genuinely thinking that's funny or just laughing along to make sure that the big man doesn't get too angry.
Well, I'm afraid, my lord, at such a low price, we cannot accept. The beast will have to continue its roaming. Good day.
Sir, the beast has quite an issue. If it keeps on going, we know the numbers will increase of its victims. He grunts. 30.
70.
No, I think that 10 is quite a fair price for the head. But I think Falris just kind of pipes up out of nowhere. No, I think 10 is quite a fair price for the head. However, we do charge extra for it to be cleaved off the body. So we will give you the head. But we do charge an extra, what was it, 50? An extra 50 to ensure that it is cleaved from the rest of the body.
The service fee, Kanja says, nodding to Thoris. Ah, yes, of course.
I will glance into my journal and say, yes, that is correct from my letter.
Standard monster hunting rates, your lordship.
Perhaps we could make a simpler deal. You'll give us 15 for the head, and we will bring the blood elsewhere, since you seem to think it's not so valuable.
I will have this blood if you say it is so.
Then you will pay 60, my lord.
I will do this. I will pay you 40 for the head and blood of this creature, and I will give you arm rings that will tell everyone that you are my men. You will have my name to act in your stead.
Your lordship, you are most generous. And as she looks around the room and I assume sees these arm rings on everybody in here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do they look like? Are they like actual gold? Do they have some value as well?
They're nice engraved silver. They're decently valuable, but it's definitely more like a social signifier of like, oh man, this guy talks to the big man kind of so signifier.
Your lordship, I am sworn to the princes. I myself could not accept such a generous gift, though humbled as I am.
Indeed, and I have no master but God, my lord, and so I cannot accept either. Though it is generous.
Sir, we do need the beast gone. These are the first that have shown skill, at least a bit of enthusiasm or initiative to hunt down the beast. The hunters themselves have been steering clear. You should take this opportunity. I will take the opportunity if I so wish. He kind of slams the table, and it almost like there's a visible kind of crack and dent in this wooden table where he pounded. The silverware is going to go flying. The cutlery, has scattered a bit. Some of the dishes are a bit askew. One is lying on the floor and crashed, and a servant has come to pick it up, picking up the broken pieces. Slay the beast, bring its head here, bring me its blood. 50 coins for this.
Deal.
Deal, she says, and steps forward, holds out her hand to shake and seal the deal, carefully being sure that the sleeve carefully covers the visible mark on her arm, on her wrist.
Oh, I don't shake hands. And a steward will kind of like rise out of his chair and shake your hand for him.
Of course, your lordship. And I think she would look the steward in the eye whose hands she is shaking, and then leave the implied question there, like, and your name is, since I'm shaking your hand as a representative.
Advisor Bearings, miss. You'll go with Advisor Bearing. He is the quartermaster of my coffers. He will scribe you a deed of this exchange. Go with him, and it'll be so. Leave me now. Dismissed. Go on.
My lord. And backs away out of the room. And as soon as they're out in the hallway, out of earshot of the guards that posted at the door, as they're walking back through. Well, he's quite a character. What did you make of him?
Miserly. Greedy. Looks like he's taking in every piece of food in the kingdom. Unnaturally large.
That man is huge.
He may have giant's blood in him.
might be an ogre.
Oh, an ogre. Candra says, as they move past, like a servant with a cart, as they're moving through the sort of little streets of the. It's kind of like a little mini, not city, but the bustle that's inside the walls of his manor area, right? Yeah. So I imagine we're sort of moving past that to get back out. Has anyone had experience with an ogre before?
Not directly.
Have you read of them, Darren?
You four, this way for the deed.
Ah, yes, of course.
To the
Thank you.
scribery, of course. Advisor bearing is kind of saying from down the hall, as you're probably moving in the opposite direction.
Yeah, of course. My bad. Cantra wouldn't have been moving to leave. That was just my bad.
No worries.
Be following him.
Yeah.
I still think that
would,
we should have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I would go near Felris and say, if we're going to the scribery, keep your eyes out for any unattended seals. Might be useful.
Felris would like smile at you, his toothless grin, and does a little wink, nods. I still think we should have given him the head with the body still attached. Technically, we're doing what he asked.
It's worth considering. We can still deliver the body as is, and then when we get here, offer a processing charge.
Well, he's certainly exploitable, I'd say. But we'll see when we find.
I think that's one exploit we may not have success in. As soon as he lays eyes on the body, he may just devour it on sight. Yes, coming, Advisor Bering.
And you know that this advisor bearing, he's the one that's kind of kept persuading the Lord to actually take you up on your deals. He seems to be a bit, at least, either reason-headed or quite empathetic towards this kind of epidemic, essentially. And we can. He leads you down these hallways, though it's quite. The stonework is exquisite, lined with windows to allow the natural light in. A thing that most buildings don't even have. They've walked through. Buildings are often lit either in the dark or by candlelight. Just down this hallway and these stairs. It leads you to kind of a deeper part of this manor, and opens up this scribery, which has rolls of scrolls, melting wax, quills, ink, books bound and sewn. There's some benches and most importantly a table for y'all to sit at on this bench. As he unravels this bolt of parchment. It's a bit kind of wrinkled and curled and stained in places, but he begins to kind of dip the ink into the from the quill, and begin to kind of scribe out the deed that's been issued out by this lord.
Looks like your sanctum, Darren, she says, gesturing to the books and such as they enter.
And I will go saunter closer to the books to see if there's anything of interest.
Yeah, Felris will keep an eye out as well.
Do they look like
Darren.
ledgers, like written books?
Yeah, roll me an intelligence test, please, to try and kind of parse out what everything is here, to see what you can really notice.
Yeah, that's a success.
Perfect. Yeah, you're able to see you're able to kind of be able to parse through all these books, and you see that some of them are uh, historical accounts. Some of them are names of important people, like genealogies. Some of them are business ledgers. Most of them are very much kind of just records of a scribe, more so than anything. You see some religious work down here, the sacred flame texts and scriptures that have been scribed and copied and placed in here. But this, you notice that a lot of these books are actually kind of empty. They seem to be bound and ready for use without being written in. So it's almost being a little bit less of a sanctum than perhaps you initially wanted. Though you are able to find a certain book, and this book seems strange at first, um, and inside of it seems to be a writing that you can't understand. Perhaps no one on this in this realm could probably understand it. Uh, do you? And it's the script is like flowery. There's some diagrams inside. There's like human body. There's some like flower diagrams of like of a stem and the roots, and there's even stranger geometric diagrams as well. Circulars inlaid with triangles, with strange like hypotenuses drawn along them and notated. It definitely seems like some kind of intellectual work here is being done in this book, but it's in a language that's foreign.
Does it look like dusty and left like in the corner of uh,
Yeah,
like
definitely. It's dusty and forgotten, it seems.
let's say Advisor Beringo? What a peculiar book this is. Do you know what it is or whose is it?
Works of the merchant princes to the south. Though none here can translate it. It's recovered from a war 6 generations ago, in fact.
Hmm.
You're lucky to have anyone in these parts be able to understand those words there. I've We've had attempts at connecting with messengers to any able-minded merchant prince to the south who wishes to join us in our efforts to unravel this mystery, but alas, nothing happens.
Have any scholars attempting to decipher this?
I had a monk come through here. Not a monk of Silver Flame, mind you. One dressed a bit similarly to yourself, in fact. He was of a certain creed. I cannot remember the name. An institute, I believe, of some kind. Down in Weissmund, in fact.
I see. And he was unsuccessful, you say?
He seemed to take a great fancy to it, and you'll see in the back of it are his notes that he's made.
I'll flip to the back.
Yeah, and there's definitely kind of a scrap of parchment that's been kind of just wedged in between the pages. It's kind of folded up, um, and when you open it up, it seems that the ink has run and kind of bled to be very difficult to understand what the writing is. Though you can make out characters, letters in it that are definitely your language.
Ah, yes, I see. I can see. y- I could attempt to have a go at it if you want while we're on
Of
this
course,
quest.
I would ask you to leave the book here, of course, but if you find a bit of free time, this place is open to scholars in open-minded.
Certainly.
This beast, as he's continuing like to write down more of these clauses on his deed, he's looking up at you, Kandra, and you, Gothric. This beast is, I fear, to be a terrible thing, much so than the Lord does. much more than seems any others in this damn manor seem to pay heed to. I would, if I were you, if you need to know more about this thing, about the rumors and hearsays and eyewitnesses of his events, I would speak to the hunters who range in the boundaries and edges of that wood of the fanged wield. They have wisdoms that no other man would have. And I'll need one of you, please, to place your finger here in this ink pot here.
Andrew would look to Gothric and look down at his disgusting hands, and step forward and reach out her finger.
I can write well enough if that's what's needed.
Oh, you can. Oh, perfect. That'll be even better. Basically, catching you as you're kind of like about to dip your fingers. Like, oh, then, please scribe your companion's names in this spot here. Kind of rotates the parchment around and hands you the quill.
Yeah, he'll do so with like an unexpectedly like beautiful hand. I think he would have spent a lot of time in like the monastery, like learning how to write very well and illuminate manuscripts and stuff. And he just like beautiful swirls and like calligraphic sort of signature.
Not many who write deeds in this place. People like yourself know how to write. Impressive.
And Kendra had, since she does that thing, where you're gonna give someone a high five and you just pretend that you did something else. Like she was reaching out with her finger, and then as it's like torn away from under her, she sort of moves as if she was pointing at the book that Darren is reading. Like, oh yes, interesting. Look at this one here.
I would. I want to take the parchment with the notes and see if we can make them out.
They're a bit hard to make out now, but definitely, I think if you were to take
some
time
kind of
during a rest, I think you'd be able to kind of work on it to try and figure out, because it's almost like, imagine that you had notes and someone spills, I don't know, coffee or wine over it.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
Yeah,
like water on it.
Yeah, exactly. They've all bled. You'll have to kind of work backwards and figure out what the characters were to figure out what the message was.
Yoink.
He'll roll up this deed now that it's kind of freshly dried. He'll tie it with some twine and get a stamp of hot wax to seal it closed. Carry this with you. It is proof of your transaction with the Lord. I fear that it is needed with people like him.
Protector of sacred documents, Gothric. Do you do the honors?
But of course, and like once it's got sand over it and like it's dry or whatever, he'll roll it up and place it in. The Lord is unusually large, no?
Immediately, like this steward kind of like looks around, sees that the hallway is probably empty, and would get up, excuse me, and closes the door to this place. No. Yes, he is. It's from his mother's side.
Is she a giant?
She certainly was large, yes. She did not survive his birth. Nor her mother hers, and likewise. It's a curse that runs in their family, though perhaps a blessing to see them as great warriors, tall and mighty.
He has been gathering a lot of food and supplies and taking them.
As much as a lord is Lord is apt to do. It is his right after all.
Yes, but he also has responsibilities, surely, to the people beneath him.
Yes.
I don't mean to put you in an awkward position. I understand that you serve him.
It's trying times, it is. Trying times.
Well, with the roots encroaching further, have they given you trouble here yet?
The Lord does not see it as trouble yet. He sees it as an opportunity. I see it as it is a threat. Then there's the threat of the salt shortages. There's the threat of this beast. There's the threat of that witch nun. Oh goodness, is it a hard time to be a steward to this Lord. Times have been changing, it seems. Changing for the worst.
I'm gonna slightly nudge Gothric.
The witch nun.
It's rumors and hearsay of the people to the east, the hamlets of Rufast. They've decided to lynch one of their own. It's to happen within the week.
Well, that would be murder, wouldn't it?
I know this is probably above, or at least distinct from your task here, but if you were to maintain that what is happening there is of lawful action, I would appreciate it. I do not wish to have my lord's people be murderers.
We are available to be your representatives as adjudicators for a price.
I wish for this to be a bit less formal, as you can understand. Acting in this way
That costs
puts me in a bit
extra.
of stress. Of course, coin would be there to pay you.
Discretion is valuable.
Certainly is.
But of course, for the good of the people.
I. How much do you want for this?
Depends
He
on
kind of says,
the
just like he just almost like fed up with the grueling back and forth of negotiations that happened upstairs. Just how much do you want?
depends on the urgency and how far it is.
I can offer 5 coin.
5 coin to stop a lynching.
Stop it! No, just to ensure that it's lawful. If that nun is a witch, then let it be. I just wish to be ensured that this is not some foul works of murder.
Nor the fomenting of a rebellion or some such, I'm sure.
I can do 8 and no more.
We'll take 10.
And he's like almost like doesn't quite roll his eyes, just like 5 now and 5 with the return of the information. So he'll like kind of thumb through a pocket and kind of like toss you 5 coins. Here's for your silence, and the 5 will return with answers.
You shall have your evidence, or lack thereof.
Thank you. Keep that deed close. That's itself. Almost worth as much as the gold itself paid for that beast. And I think that as you were signing it, Gothric, you would be able to kind of glance over what actually you were signing for. And it seemed very, definitely reasonable. It's just like, there's no
No gotchas.
no slimy workarounds. It's like, it just can pay paid 50 coins for the head and blood of the beast. Just writing down in letter.
The Lord shall not be held accountable. If any of us are to die, will be maimed and all of that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Standard stuff.
Standard witch hunter contract, yeah.
I believe that is all. As he kind of taps the As he gets out of his chair and kind of tapping the desk.
Do you and I'll turn as I was leaving. Do you by any chance have a map of the area we could use? You could borrow until we. It would help to navigate easier
Oh, of
across your
course,
lands.
of course. I have a map of the mace. He's kind of like almost like stumbling. The Marin. Excuse me, the manor. It's almost like being caught up. There's a little bit of sweat is palpitating from the um, this clandestine activity that he's now secured. He fumbles and fidgets through one of the shelves and would pull out. Oh, nope, nope. Here it is. Oh no, that's nope, here's one. This one's up to date.
As he turned and was fumbling through the through those papers, I nudged Valerie. And I'll wait for the map.
I think Flowers is also just going to take an extra look, not so much with as Darren had, right, with an intellectual mind, but more with a thief's pointed mind. Just
that'll
observe.
be that'll be I think a wisdom test here. If you have any of your roguish ability there to help with finding trinkets to steal, that might apply. Can't remember.
The only thing I have here is delicate tasks, but probably not. That's probably more like malleable stuff. And finding secret things.
Finding secret things would apply here, absolutely.
So I roll. And sorry, what roll is that?
A wisdom test.
Wisdom. No, that's a fail.
Yeah, you're given about like 3 seconds to really kind of glance about the actual work desk as he's turned his back to you. Everything's here is kind of covered in a weird smelling odor. It's kind of a weird, like almost like sawdust to the place. It's just nothing really much of value down here in the scribery. It's a bit of more of a dirty workman place than anything else.
Right. Yeah. So then Felrus would just turn to Derek, just give like the ever so slightest shrug and a shake of a head.
This one, by the falconer Isrid himself, drew this map. He would hand this ink-sketched map of the lands surrounding the manor, of this place. And it is essentially a nice map of the picture I gave you 2 weeks back.
Excellent. It would be most helpful.
The fanged wield is down over here. And the hunter's lodges are along this perimeter here. And he's kind of like pointing at the kind of a southeast section of the map and the perimeter thereof.
And
it's crystal clear, the information there.
Ralphast, the village.
Yep, there's the hamlet of Rilfast. Almost like a direct. It's a very short hike down the hill from the manor itself to the eastern river. It's a small little tributary.
And I'll turn and give a nod to Kandra.
Yes, she'll return the nod, getting the sense that we're all done here. We've got what we need for now. And thank Advisor Bering once more, and let him lead us back out so that we can then be on our way.
And perfect. Yes, you're able to be escorted out, and go about wherever you wish now with the map and the deed and the half of your payment for word about this witch nun in Rulefest. So now the agency now lies in your court once again with this new contract, this new information. What do you wish to do?
Well, that bleaching should take place right over there if we want to check it out real quick.
Did he give a time frame of when the lynching was supposed to take place, or just that it was soon?
You said by the end of the week, I believe is
Okay.
what I had said.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought it happened already. Okay. Okay, cool. So we got to do that first, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And Agatha
Let's,
could
like-
say, my impression is that he wants this lynching to go ahead and that he wants it to be correct.
So you're saying we find evidence whether there is any or no?
We're faced with a choice, I suppose, how much we like this lord.
The Lord will not know.
I think
Will he?
we're working for advisor bearing on this one.
I would say I only like him because of his coin, but that's not even something that you can like him on.
No, he is stingy, and I think he is a cruel man, my impression at least.
Advisor bearing, on the other hand, is stingy only because it's not his man to give, but he's willing to part with it for the good of the people.
He seems to care more.
At risk to himself.
It's not really our place to get involved, but he would make a better lord.
I don't know, he looked pretty nervous.
I think he's afraid of the lord.
Well, we'll see. I don't think that Lord has much to live anyway with his lifestyle.
He seems quite virile. The feasts he seems to consume every day give him inhuman vitality, it seems. I would not rule out what you suggested earlier, that he may be an ogre or some such. But whatever else he may be, he also is the Lord.
Definitely not a good one, though, as he claims.
I think if we leave well enough alone, eventually the people will do something to replace this person. But we can speed that or slow that if we so choose, based on this lynching that's to go ahead.
Well, I, for one, think we need not fabricate any evidence. We've been paid half now for discretion and will be paid the other half upon provision of the information. The nature of that information will not affect the coin we get.
And I'm quite confident that if there is any clues or information, we will get it.
Let's go and see.
Then I'll pick the map up and kind of trace the way we should take towards the village.
So I provided you each with the map. It's been put in a little campaign document with a little legend. So you're currently at B, and it's a very short travel to get to the edge of B, which is the little hamlet of Rulefest, where a bunch of the farmlands begin to kind of moot and meet. to either trade their goods, the kind of a merchant square. It's much smaller than Balway is. You've gained the impression of.
And that's where the thing is supposed to be happening?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I would say we just start moving there now, right? It's morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so as you move into town, the little hamlet of Balway, not Balway, excuse me, real fast. It's essentially just a square with where almost all these like roads, these farmers' roads converge. That head out into the surrounding farmlands and fields of this place. And it's a quiet day. There seems to be almost no one milling about, though there is someone almost in isolation from everyone else. Perhaps the reason why there's no one else out is a man shouting, uh, preaching, it seems, to absent ears.
What is he preaching? Like, what is he saying as we get closer?
As the sound distorts from a distance, you're able to approach, and you're able to kind of pick out the colors of his cloth and the words to his preach. He's dressed in a similar vestment as both as Father Berrig of Balway is, vestments of the Silver Flame itself, and he's preaching about how this witch has subverted us all, has defied our attentions and senses, brought a plague of the beast itself to the land. And you get the impression that this witch nun, apparently, at least this witch, excuse me, is the source of the beast that plagues the farmlands. Though there seems to be no one giving him any attention. No one actually at all out here yet.
Perhaps he should be the first that we talk to, eh?
Boy.
She wears the skin of the faithful, yet she is a demon herself.
Nope, can't do it. Gothric, please.
Brother,
A brother of the cloth. It's good to see you.
what is it you preach?
Salvation of the flame, of course.
Speaking of a witch.
Great evil, yes. She's doomed us all.
Indeed. What has she done?
She's done many things. She sapped the salt from these lands. She's caused women to murder their own children. She's caused a beast to emerge from the foul pits of the abyss itself to range these lands, murdering man, woman, sheep, cow, goats alike. She will come. She will not stop until all of us are dead.
She sounds to be very powerful.
But she's been captured. She has.
Indeed. She allowed herself to be captured despite all of this power.
Her tongue's been cut off so that she may not speak her foul spells. Her fingers broken and shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Her eyes knifed out from their sockets so that she cannot even see the world itself.
Fuck me.
Did she confess to her crimes?
The Silver Flame needs no confession, my brother. I know it to be so.
Well, I see. And what evidence have you of her crimes?
I feel sad to admit this, but she used to be a sister of this church, beneath me, under my watchful protection.
Not so watchful, it would seem.
I, I feel, I feel almost guilty for letting her fall like this,
You are
for letting
responsible.
the evil forces take her away from the holy silver flame itself. I saw her one evening walking from the church itself to a grove north of here. And this concerned me, so I followed her in pursuit. And I saw her, oh, the damnable things I saw. Silver Flame knows what has happened there, what must be done.
What specifically did you see, brother? What sign of witchery? What definite proof?
Most foul things.
Such as?
It was strange that she was dancing and singing as if some great monster has taken sway over her own body. She cackled mad to the stars themselves.
Mm-hmm. And you saw her
In the waters of the pond she was dancing in front of. I saw the dark, dim, red eyes of that monster itself. She was calling for it. She was singing for it. She pulled it out of the water. She did. I barely got out of there alive as I ran.
and she
woke.
had a mark of witchery upon her body.
But of course.
Very good. I'll have a look.
She's bound in the catacombs of our church here.
Then there should be no danger for me.
Flame be with you.
And you. Guthrie has like no problem with killing witches, but he does require some proof. Right? Which is why he didn't kill that woman in the house previously. Like, so to him it's important. Like, otherwise everyone's just a fucking maniac, right? You need like some. And so although he is a maniac, he's maniac with code, you know? Like and so he thinks that this, he would say as much to you, this seems suspect. And the relationship between them before seems even more suspect.
Yes. Why was he taking such concern with her wandering? People do that all the time.
I believe he wandered with her. I believe they were lovers, most like. And she rebuffed him, and now he has called her a witch. I have seen this before. It is a tragedy of my faith that men in power frequently misuse it. It is easy to call someone a witch, and villagers will rally to that call very quickly. Very clever of him to immediately cut out the tongue so she cannot speak against him.
But she can nod.
Yes.
Well, we should hear her side now. So lead the way, Your Excellency.
Yeah, he's going to walk with like absolute authority towards the church, I guess.
Perhaps it is not the best idea for us all to surround her. She must be frightened out of her wit, and then to have 4 strangers crowd around her asking her questions. She may not be as forthcoming.
Well, she is blind.
Still, she can hear us. Perhaps some of us should go check out that pond. The cursed pond with the eyes.
It might be good also to speak to the townsfolk and see what they think of this preacher and what they thought of the woman before she was accused.
I can go check that clearing with the pond.
I will listen in to see what the townspeople are saying. They must have. That must be all they are talking about right now.
Yeah. Kandra, wanna join?
I imagine the townspeople are screaming for more of her blood, rather than just her eyes and tongue. I'm sure you'll hear much, Felris. I would speak with her. Um, that's where I will be.
I think that is wise.
We can meet. We can meet outside the church later.
Sundown at the latest.
Yeah.
Start with you, Darren, as you inspect the pond. It's an hour's walk north of the church, as you were to glean from the talkings of the father.
And as I'm going, I want to see if there is a clear path that's used often to go there, or it's just completely out of the way.
You'll notice that there's the gate that leads from the church into the clearing behind it is still ajar, suggesting that it was used at some point. It's not been locked and seized shut with rust. And you can see that some of the branches of bushes have been pushed away for ease of passage, even broken in places, so that someone could walk through uh, the bush clearing. And you soon enter the tree line of a small little wooded area. It's not a massive forest, just a small little uh, copse of trees, more like. And you can even hear the sound of small brook of water fueling the pond, though you cannot quite see it. And as you turn around and you can see a pond in front of you, it's a almost in as the light shines through the trees and the openings. It's a beautiful little pond. It glimmers in the sunlight. Um, you can see that it's been almost the ground near the pond, at least on this side, has been kind of stamped a bit flat, as if someone's been here many times. There's frogs croaking near the pond's waters. There's insects flying above the surface. Flies kind of begin to, or even like blood-sucking mosquitoes seem to kind of buzz around, hungering for your blood and flesh as they kind of land on your clothes and in your garments. And you have to swat them away. Though just the colors here are quite idyllic. Yellows and reds and greens and blues seem to kind of dance in front of your eyes. It's oddly peaceful here. It's You wouldn't even think of it from seeing this little copse of trees from the outside as being a little peaceful grove like this, but it is.
I wanna quickly check around to see if there's any religious markers or like flame insignia that's like you know could be a place of worship or it's just
All right, give me that. Give me an intelligence test to try and search through the grasses and dirt.
yeah, that's a success.
Yeah, you're able to kind of just search through the area, finding any kind of remnants of anything like that. Um, and you would find um, a string of prayer beads kind of lying in the dirt, not quite in the water, but quite close.
All right. I would stand near the water and give a an eerie whistle and summon my familiar. It's a three-eyed hummingbird. It's gonna helps me in my investigating. Just gets attracted to any arcane energies, and I want to use my background to give me an edge in searching for any magics that have happened in this area.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, your familiar darts out. And as you are keen eyed for the sorts of strange arcane things of the world, you can look and see things that no one else can really see. Um, Give me that intelligence test to try and find any remnants of any kind of residual magic here.
Yeah, that's a success.
And to your either dismay or relief, there seems to be nothing magical here. So you do see a certain kind of flower that blooms on the other side of the pond that its nectar has slight mind altering effects if taken in heavy dosage. I know this from uh, some course of alchemy that you've taken, though nothing
I
else at all in this place. No
hmm,
strange ectoplasm left behind in the water or on the undersides of plants, suggesting any kind of demon emerging from the pond. There's no wilting of the trees, no blight here. There's almost nothing.
I would just I know that plant, right? It's familiar to me.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, okay. And I'll walk back and with my hummingbird zipping 2 or 3 times around me while flying away to simply nowhere.
Right, perfect. All right, we'll go to you, Felris, as you're eavesdropping on the folk. You do find out that there is a bit of traffic here. Um, as a person carrying a cart of melons comes through, another with um, these sacks of grain coming through from a different way, and there's they idly talk um, as they cross. How's your family? How's your wife? How's your kids? Kind of hearsay, um, and to get eavesdropping on the many other people that cross through this place too. That'll be a wisdom test with advantage from eavesdropping. Okay, I cannot give you super advantage, but I can make this a charisma test instead of a wisdom test, if that at all helps out. Yeah, as you try to convince people of just like the fact that you're no threat at all. Just like, people won't even care talking in front of you. They don't really care. Yeah. All right, perfect. Um, yeah, you're able to get a bunch of conflicting kind of rumors from these people. Um, you do hear talk about the witch being lynched tonight. Um, there is this particular one is very happy that this witch got caught before she ran amok a bit further, and their heart goes out to all those farmers who've lost all their sheep from that terrible demon that she summoned into this world. Um, and it's a shame, that uh, that even in a holy place like this, even under the eyes of Father Sigibert as well, that this witch was able to operate. And then you are able to eavesdrop another kind of point of, I've known her since she was a girl. She's, oh, it's terrible how the foul things of this world tempt us. Make sure your daughters are safe too. Perhaps she will not be the only witch of this town, which is really frightening. Um, uh, they seem to be very worried about their own children, thinking that there's something else going on besides just a single witch. Another rumor you hear is the beast can't be the witch's doing. It's, my grandfather dealt with the beast, and my father dealt with the beast. It happens every season. It's how can people be so idle-minded to think that this witch summoned it when it's been a problem every damn season? Yeah, uh, you would hear a point of how this girl, um, her mother was struck ill, uh, perhaps 7 years ago, um, and was forced here to have to join to serve under the church to keep a room, yeah, to keep room and board. You'd even hear as well as, oh, I think that Father Sigma took a liking to that girl. Perhaps he wished to have a daughter of his own, perhaps. Perhaps the young, that young witch was the only hope he had, seeing someone else like a daughter. It's almost like a foster daughter, perhaps. Can't imagine what that would do to a man, seeing their own foster daughter turn into a witch like that. It must be devastating for him. I'm glad he has the silver flame to keep him strong in these scary times.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too. Do I know her name?
Yes, he would, and I will give you a name real shortly here, as I just like buy time. Wintrida.
Bless you.
Is her name? Young Wintrida, or Wendy? Some people even call her.
Okay. All right. So from what you said, it seems like there's a lot of conflicting, and then she didn't have a lot of points of contact outside of the church. Then is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely things you noticed. Though I do want to say that there are a lot of people that just think that she's a witch and should justly die.
Yeah.
So the ratios aren't 1-to-1 as I had maybe suggested, but those are kind of like the 5 different things that you've heard. Though you definitely can tell that there's a lot of hatred for the witch, a lot of fear for the beast, even perhaps even the fear of the beast is what's driving this witch hunt more than anything else.
Right.
Though, of course, that one man said that his father and his grandfather dealt with the beast in their times. And anyone who ranges and farms near the Weald knows to keep their animals safe this time of year. Almost acting as like it's just a seasonal thing, just like, oh yes, seasonally animals get slaughtered, no big deal, right? Just it's part of the land, I guess. Which is kind of a strange, almost like a thing to hear coming from these people. And it seemed that the person he was talking to didn't quite really get that, but yeah.
Okay.
And we will be switching to Gothric and Kendra. But before we do so, go ahead and take a bio break. Fill up your mugs, go take a smoke, whatever, and we'll see you back in a few. The two of you have entered this church. It is much more finely crafted than the other church in Balway, suggesting that a lot of money was put into it, or that it was really old and refurbished. One of the two. Regardless, however, you enter it. The creaking wooden doors open. A bit of dust still hangs in the air in this place. It's empty, as you'd expect on this non-holy day. Um, there's no service to happen today, and no festival of summer snow melt, to happen as well. The entrance to the catacombs is also unlocked, though. You have to kind of navigate through the sanctuary and through the various side rooms of this larger stone church. When you enter, it's dark. The stairways descend. You'd have to provide your own light, as the sunlight is unable to reach this place.
You put out a torch, I guess, and get it lit.
Whoosh. You bring a torch down. You hear sobbing, distant but echoing through these catacombs.
Yeah, I'll go towards.
And so, of the two of you, Gothric would be leading the way then? Because there's only really room for single file in these kind of cramped quarters.
I think in this holy place in particular, yeah.
All right, perfect. And you'd be able to follow the source of the sobbing, much to your dismay, I guess, as you see a gruesome sight lit by the flickering light of your torch. A woman, she's bound to a chair. Her face is covered in blood. Her hair also matted with blood and soil. She's bent over, bound to the chair. Her hands just broken behind her, behind the back of this chair. She's barely conscious, barely at all alive, even. Is the only sign of life from her. And she's kind of just slumped there. Is kind of a weak sobbing happening. It seems like her voice is hoarse from perhaps even screaming. There's a hoarseness to it.
Gothic is going to go forward and try and heal her to at least put a little bit of a clamp on her suffering, if you can do that.
Absolutely.
So I will cast Cure Wounds. That's a success. She gets 1d8. 7.
Immediately in front of your torchlight, what you thought perhaps was just soil or dirt, even just dried blood. You see a lot of bruising around near her forearms, upper arms. That kind of shrinks away through the miracle work of your cure. She does not recover her missing organs, as you see the bloodied eye sockets still remain empty, though the blood themselves seems to almost like clear away a bit as scrapes and bruises vanish underneath the miracle of the silver flame. A groaning would happen. Trying to enunciate, but nothing happens due to a lack of tongue. Standing here in front of her, probably even touching her because of the cure that you've cast, you can see that she's barely wearing anything. It's been ripped and torn in some kind of weird oil grease. There's some kind of weird symbol drawn on her belly. Here is bare. She's barefoot, her feet covered in kind of mud, her knees as well, really thick with mud.
I know that you cannot speak. I'm not going to do any harm to you. Simply nod your head or shake it. I'm trying to determine if some injustice has been done to you. It was the priest did this.
And she shakily nods.
He said that he saw you at a pond and that you were dancing. He said that you summoned a beast.
And she
Did you?
shakes her head vigorously at that.
He thinks you did that.
And she shakes her head as well, almost like pushing at her restraint so they cut into her flesh as she tries to move.
He wants to be rid of you. You were his lover?
She pauses and she nods, then shakes her head. And she shakes her head again after the grunt.
Unwilling lover.
And she would nod to that.
This man though I hesitate to call him that, he has the support of the village.
She gives no real cohesive answer to that.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't know.
She doesn't even know.
You have never taken part in any witchcraft.
She shakes her head vigorously. She's like straining at her wristbands.
What does the mark on her? It was a belly, I think he said.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like?
It's in some kind of grease paint. It's a line down the center, and it ends a little bit higher than the belly button, maybe about 6 inches long, and crosses it, and it has like almost like a cross twice near the base. It's like an upside down T with an extra cross in it.
So it's painted on?
Yeah.
Okay. So witches, I don't know if this is in this setting, but like the historical thing that they did is like you would have a witch's mark, which is like a, you know, like a nipple on your knee or like some weird deformity or something, right? So if this is painted on, or like if this is the mark the guy was talking about,
it's not evidence.
No, Gothard would like look and I guess like follow Kandra's eyes and like wipe it away or some of it away.
It like, just smears as you touch it, almost like clinging into her skin.
Yeah, he would like rub it between his fingers, and he would say, "This is not the way that brothers of the church act. You did not deserve this. I'm sorry."
And she just whimpers. And Kandra, you're kind of, I think, kind of watching from a bit farther away. You hear something behind you. You hear the sound of a door being closed.
Her hand goes immediately down to the axe at her waist as she looks around and moves the torch as the orange light flickers. See if she can spot anything. Or are we in quite a small chamber and this was the door we entered in and the only door and that's just closed on us? Or
I imagine this place like being like an L shape. The is in this part of the L is like, you know, the catacomb actual where you're talking, and then the top of the L is like the staircase that you went down. So there's really only one entrance. There's probably other ways to get through this place, but the one that you heard is the one that you came through at the top of the stairs.
So she would definitely actually draw her axe then, and place the torch in a sconce on the wall, and unsling her shield from her back and move over down so that she's at the base of the staircase, and will be able to surprise anyone who might come down.
No more harm will come to you, he'll say to her quietly, and then he will stand and move towards Kendra as well.
And you'd see with the torchlight a figure descending the stairs. He also is carrying a torch, it seems, and the light meets yours. You can see the light illuminates his face. It is Father Sigebert himself, that man who was preaching at the square. He's holding his other hand behind his back, the hand that isn't carrying a torch. Hello, brother. I see you've seen the witch for herself.
What you have done is a desecration of what we stand for. And you know that. You know that flames await you.
I'm sad to hear that the witch's own devil words.
The mark on her stomach is made of some sort of grease. You have lied to me. And you have lied to God. And you think that he doesn't know?
And he begins to stammer and kind of backtrack up the stairs. He sees the axe in the hand of Kendra and begins to almost like backpedal, almost literally backpedaling.
Yeah, I'm going to try and grab him.
Give me a strength test then, as he would be pulling away from you.
That is just a success, just barely.
All right, you are able to get a firm grasp, perhaps on his wrist or something, as he tries to yank away a bit. You've got a few moments of a grapple here. What do you do with it?
I'm going to try and like pull him down the stairs so that he falls.
Yeah, and because of this, yeah, you're able to pull him down, and he just crunch, crunch, crunch on the stone. He loses his balance. You hear something snap. It's something gruesome snapping as he lies, please, upon the stone at the base of the stairs. As he tries to move, and he can't, as his other arm can't bear the weight of his body anymore. You hear the sound of steel clanging on stone, ching, 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 as something that he was holding. You see it as like a letter opener sharpened. It's kind of a small stiletto dagger skid onto the stone.
Bind him.
Hands.
He'll say to Kendra, bind him.
Yeah, she'll do so immediately.
Would
quite
you bind
roughly.
him
Good question. I don't have any rope or anything in my inventory, so I guess she maybe just grab him and restrain him, like use
totally.
the axe like around his neck, axe handle.
Let's take his robes off and tie his hands with them. The public embarrassment that follows is like very necessary.
And so I imagine between the two of you, you're able to. He's not a very strong bodied man. You're able to kind of keep him grappled, keep him bound, and he's naked besides just his small clothes as you've tied him with his vestments. He's spitting, bleeding. He's trying to bite something. He's trying to bite out of his grasp. He's trying to wiggle out of your grasps. You know that he has like a broken arm, a kind of dislocated shoulder that you maybe even use to your benefit as you're kind of pushing him around.
So my intent is to bring him into the square of the village, if there is one, something like that, and gather people.
And I think you're able to do so. You draw a crowd, I think. Seeing a person battered and bruised, Felris, you'd see this too as a form of a blind senile beggar. And Darren, I think that you'd be able to kind of coming your way back as well, hearing kind of some kind of commotion down in the square. The sound carries far in this place.
Once we have like people looking, he will like turn to the people and say, "This man accused a girl of witchcraft, of speaking lies, and of bringing shame and unholiness to this village. In fact, it is he who has committed that sin. He spoke lies, and he has brought the wrath of God upon this place. He
But
has
you'd hear
manipulated this girl."
someone would shout out, "But what of the beast? The beast she summoned."
She did not summon a beast. The forest is full of beasts. You know this. It happens every fucking year, every village. For his crimes, he's to be gelded. Any opposition?
There's kind of a murmur in the crowd as this is all very sudden to them. But there's no clamor for opposition, though it seems that they're a bit hesitant to even go one way or another.
Okay, if nobody steps forward immediately, I'm going to take out a knife and I'm going to cut his junk off.
And it's gruesome. And the scream, I think, as the camera pans to a more tolerable angle, there's a scream that kind of echoes out from this man. It's a whimpering scream. And the deed is done. And he's tries to collapse, just passing out from the pain and just the humiliation of this all.
He'll turn to, I guess, with like blood-soaked hands to Kendra. He will speak lies of this tongue as well. And he's like weirdly calm, considering the violence. I don't even know if Kendra is as calm.
I think she's holding steady, like she's seen a lot of battle and a lot of shit. So I think she'd just give you a firm nod while she's still like restraining him,
Yeah, so then I'll open his mouth and I'll like use something, I don't know what I can find, but like, or just grab the tongue and cut. And he will die from that, so I'm going to heal him so he doesn't.
All right. This now unconscious, tongueless man is not conscious at all for this. He's broken, he's slumped to the ground. If you're holding him up, he's just dead weight at this. Though the strange silver flame miracle keeps this suffering man alive from this, as his tongue seals closed as if stitched together by invisible hands. I guess stump thereof. And the people are astonished and a bit taken back, as there's a lot of violence in one sudden movement. They're not ready for this. No one really ever is to see something like this. It lasts in their minds. It haunts them a bit. And there's kind of an urge for people to leave, to go back to their homes, to go back to their farmsteads, and leave all this behind them.
This man's a liar and a raper, and you will keep him here in filth. If I come back and he is being cared for, there will be more.
I do think that...
And then he'll like step off the pedestal.
I do think that Felris, upon seeing even this, would begin right away making his way towards Kendra, as this is all happening. And as Kendra is kind of finishing up this, he would go right up to her in a very low voice, just, "We must get this girl to safety. Though the priest is not a threat anymore, the people here are frightened. The shock will give us some time to get her somewhere. And I fear that if it subsides, the fear of this beast will come back and they will still try to pin this on her, as she is an easy scapegoat.
As Kendra tosses the tongue into the nearby fire pit, she agrees. We shall take her with us. You're absolutely right. This may have once been her home, because I imagine you've relayed some of the stuff that you heard while eavesdropping as well.
For sure.
This may have once been her home, but it is no longer. We shall get her. This man's crimes make your own seem pale in comparison. She says, trying to bring a little mirth.
I've told you time and time again, Condra, I'm a saint. And he would begin to go to get her as quickly as possible, like hopefully getting there even before like any guards or anything, just to like get her like out.
Yeah, she would go straight with you as well, so the pair of them would go and extract her.
Gothric is not quite finished. He will like carve a symbol into the man's forehead or somewhere very visible, so that even if he does somehow manage to like write or like explain something, it'll be clear like this has happened. He wants to make sure this guy doesn't have an easy time of it. So I guess it's like awful because there are people like around watching, and he's like squatting over him with like a knife, like, but he's like not concerned about like the violence. It's different. It's a different kind of violence because it's like so clinical or something, and so that doesn't bother him in the way like an actual fight does. And once he's done with that, yeah, he'll like flick the blood away and follow the others.
And I would be just slouching on the building at the edge of the square, waiting for Gothic to come. Say, good show as always.
Which doesn't always look the way you think.
Didn't find anything, by the way. Let's go. I'll turn and follow the others.
And so I guess we'll head back, because we'll be passing through the Lord's Manor before we get back to the village to take this girl to the kindly old woman's house. Maybe she can stay with her. But we'll stop through, I guess, the manor first and see if we can get our other 5 coin from the advisor and move back through. I suppose we don't need to speak with the Lord this time because we haven't done that part yet. So.
And so, yeah, one of you will probably be able to kind of slip in to the actual manor house, track down this the steward who gave you that little clandestine task, and who will be talking with the steward, and who will be, I guess, taking care of the woman.
Probably makes sense that I speak with him since I was the one who like gelded and like nearly murdered a priest, and whoever else wants to come with me.
I think that Felris.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that Felris would stay out. I don't think he would even want to go into the town with the girl. Like he would just kind of stay even outside of it.
Yeah, Kendra would stay out there with them.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so it'll be Gothric and Darren inside, navigating the tricky hallways of this manor house to find the advisor Bearing. You're able to track him down after a bit of wandering, after a bit of overhearing yet again a poor farmer just pleading for the Lord to do something about the great beast that stalks the farmlands, he would reply differently. You can hear it kind of like echoing the halls. I have sent the best monster hunters in this land after it. It will be dead within the end of the week. Rest assured. And of course, like, but my sheep are dead. At least you aren't, and your family. Who kind of respond, not giving any kind of, um, any kind of like recouping a cost for losing farmland. He's like, no, 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 just be happy you're alive. Be able to track down Advisor Bering. He's got some kind of ledger. He's working by candlelight, walking and pacing through a different room.
Advisor.
Oh, hello. Yes. He looks around. Do come in.
News from the village.
Close the door, please.
Yeah, he'll do so.
This was quick.
The witch is not a witch. She's a girl. The priest lied. He took advantage of the girl. And when she rebuffed him, he had her tortured, her tongue cut out, blinded, many other things.
That's grave, but thank you. Does she still live?
She lives. The priest also lives, though he has been gelded and his tongue has been cut out. I will write to the barony to explain. They will send a new priest.
I fear that kind of sentence upon the man should have been decreed by the Lord himself rather than you. I will
Perhaps the
try
Lord would
to
have been
amend
merciful.
this situation.
I know more of the laws of God than the Lord. And I know what is correct when it comes to crimes of this kind. It's
I'll
possible
be
that
happy
the
to know
Lord
that
would
the
have
Lord will not
seen.
hear those words come from your mouth. He kind of gives a bit of a chuckle for this little bit of discrepancy.
Nonetheless, it is done. I will, as they say, write to the barony. In fact, if you have ink here and paper, that would be useful. I can write quickly.
You're free to use my scribery down in the basement.
I'd be grateful. And he'll like wipe some sweat, and there's like still blood in his hands, I guess. Like 'cause we walked straight from there, and he's like a little shaken, I think, from it, to like witness corruption of like his faith, like so clearly, because he is like, in spite of everything, like pretty pure dude. Like he really believes the shit, you know. And so it's a little bit shaking, I think, for him. I'll write it. And the people might be a little concerned, but I think certainly cowed.
I will bring a flavor of this news to the Lord, and he will react accordingly. But thank you for this work. It's a good thing you've done. And he kind of tosses one of you a little coin pouch with the other 5 coins in it. Though when you look into it, there's actually 6.
I'll just step aside and start writing the letter if Darren wanted to talk about anything.
Yeah, I'll step closer to Beric and say, I have investigated many strange cases and monsters. And, I found the humankind to be the worst ones. Also the most common.
It's
If anything else of the same kind comes up, you can contact us and we'll offer our services again. You're doing good work, even though it's not official per se.
I know that the Lord will take advantage of all my doings here, but I want to say that I am proud for making this manor a safer place in all of the outlying lands.
You should
Someone
be.
has to look out for them.
Yeah. They're lucky you're around. Well,
Do be swift about the beast to the east, he says, almost like as if like trying to change the subject. I fear the Lord has given a bit of a high news about your esteem.
he would,
Don't
wouldn't
wish
he?
the things he'll say for the happiness of his people. I wish he'd do things for the happiness of his people, but alas, that's what my job is, isn't it?
That you should receive recognition for, not under his nose.
I imagine most things are under his nose.
That's true. Well, we'll speak again after we return.
Thank you. And thank you for your discrepancy.
Of course. And I'll place my hand on Gothric's shoulder to see and nod to him.
He just like signs it and throws some sand on it. And then we'll ask the advisor to send the letter to the barony. And then we'll go.
Perfect. Yeah, he'll take the letter and do with it as he will.
Would
But
you
you are okay.
and turn as I was going to leave and turn again and say, would you do us perhaps a favor? Would you have someone take the girl to that village down south? There is a healer there that can tend to her, so we can go on towards the hunt.
I'll speak to the Lord about this. I am sure that you're not going to be spared for this. To escort her.
Thank you. All in to save time, of course.
Of course. For a person to be witness to such atrocities and sin, it's the least I can do, if not erase the deeds that have happened.
Find solace in that there was justice served. The divine kind.
Aye, that is true. She'll be safely escorted. I'll convince the Lord as such.
Thank you.
Then he goes back to continuing on his ledger.
Be seeing you. And I'll
Likewise.
not to Gothric.
And he'd be finishing up his ledger work and then almost like following out of this room to go immediately talk to the Lord himself of this place, leaving you to your own devices as you're able to leave this manor house and descend down past the walls and join up with your companions.
Absentmindedly follow Gothric while looking at the map.
Yeah, I'll head back out.
And as you're back out, you probably mill around a bit, I guess, to discuss plans. And soon a messenger from the Lord himself, at least he wears the same colors and sigil. I am to take this woman to Balway. Yes, the Lord decrees it.
And I would kind of nod to Kandra.
Yeah, I think she kind of carefully looks at these guards, like wondering if they have heard the rumors from the village, from Rulefast, and wondering if they might take it upon themselves to decide she's a witch anyway. But I think, yeah, like trusting in Gothric and Darren having arranged this, I think she'll just slowly nod and and make the arrangements.
Felrus, I think Felrus would have been a bit, he might have needed to take a bit convincing to let her be taken by these guards. But he eventually would have, I think, once being assured. But he would kind of look at these guards and just, I do so hope for the safe, the extremely safe escort of this woman to where she needs to be and where she needs to be cared for. You all have such memorable faces. I would hate to see anything go wrong. And he smiles.
And as they see your almost like half toothless grin, they're a bit shooketh essentially by this, though they've heard about what you've done to the priest in the square already. The word travels fast, it seems, and they value, I think, what lies between their legs enough to make sure that they do this, and also they value, the grace of the Lord himself a little bit here, knowing that they'd be pissing off way too many people, even if they act out of line at all, in any way, shape, or form. And you'd see that there's four of these men, although mostly just like messenger boys. One actually has any kind of steel on him, and one of the messengers carries a deed written and folded in the same way as the one that you carry, perhaps to be delivered to the place, so that it is official, that she'll be taken care of there. Yeah. And so she kind of grunts in a strange way. This blind, mute woman, to you, this poor sister Wendrita. Though something in your heart tells you that she says thank you, in these strange, garbled words. And she has held her hand over her heart and kind of offering like gestures of prayer and thanks, to all of you, almost indiscriminately.
Yeah, Kendra squeezes her shoulder very caringly, and the feeling swells within her of remembering how good it does feel when you succeed at protecting someone that you're meant to protect.
And so the late afternoon sun begins to hang in the sky, ruby and red. It threatens a sunset soon. What do you wish to do?
Well, I have to find this beast now, eh?
Blood sky is a good omen.
Depends on whose side it is for.
Do we want to try and pick up some supplies or things we might need? It's hard to know because we don't know what the beast is necessarily, but it might be worth buying some things. Since we have some coin, like we could buy things like rope or like iron stakes or something like that we can make traps with or something.
Yes. Maybe down to Rulfast. I think the church's chambers are vacant for us to stay for now.
That's true.
And do some shopping there, I guess. Maybe they're a bit appreciative. of your good work.
Though by the time you would get to real fast, it would be late into evening. Any kind of shopping would have to wait until the morning for it to be a really late evening. Though you'd be able to find, hopefully, some kind of bed at least, or at least some quarters to stay in at the church itself, now vacant from both its father and the sister nun.
So is our plan to, well, I guess Felvers would ask this, are we going to talk to the farmers first?
Yes,
Yeah, the hunters, right?
farmers and later the hunters. We go through the fields to reach the forest.
You know how this goes. We go in unprepared, we come out with no heads.
Yeah.
Grown rather fond of my head. I'd like to keep it.
I'm still warming up to it, but I'd still rather it remain on your shoulders.
Eh. Well, I guess we should sleep early to get up at first light.
We'll move at first light. We'll get up before dawn.
Fuck again.
Yeah, you see Felvers too kind of like roll his eyes. We don't want to get up before the farmers, Kendra.
We'll need time to move from where we are to where the farmers are.
And wake them up, I guess.
I want to get ahead. I don't want to wait and see if this blood sky tonight is for us or for the beast. Let us make it for us.
Yeah.
So you're able to find shelter in the stone walls of this church. The only building really that stands in real fast. Everything else is kind of more of a rudimentary shack at best. Stalls that have some kind of awning to cover them from any kind of rain. This building is an actual brick and mortar building. It's eerily quiet and empty. It seems that whoever attends it has vacated. Um, Even if there was anyone else, any kind of servant that would dust the alcoves, definitely does not want to spend any time here. Not at this hour. Definitely not after what has happened today. It's almost a cursed place. Though this evening you'll need to probably pick out the rations out of your bags to really feed yourselves this evening, as the hunger kind of sets in. And so everyone, thanks to Darren earlier, has a D8 worth of rations, which means that this evening I'll be rolling that D8 to see how much you go through. If you roll a 1 or a 2, the die size shrinks down. Otherwise, you're fine. You've got plenty more. You probably want to mark this on your character sheet somewhere, if you hadn't already.
Yeah, I rolled a 1, so mine goes down.
I rolled an 8, so I guess we're good.
I'm good as well.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think maybe Kendra burns some of her food. Something like that.
Oh, this one's a bit stale. You just can't stomach it or something, or it's mildewed a bit from resting in near a water pack. Morning comes. In fact, the thing that happens before morning comes before the dawn. You've set up your. Somehow, one of you is able to wake up, perhaps regimented and trained to do so, Kendra.
Yeah, I reckon we would have had watches through the night.
Mm-hmm.
She would have taken first watch, so yeah. Last person would wake everyone up.
And it's still dark out, though the sun again kind of threatens to peak above the horizon. It's happening soon as the sky begins to go from blacks to purples, as sunrise will be upon us soon. So the travel down to the thick of the farmlands to get any kind of information from them, or even see any kind of trace of the beast, will be about an 8-hour journey through these long, winding farmers' roads that weave around rivers and across little bridges and pass through and by many plots of land. And along the way, of course, as the crow and the rooster are cawing and waking up everyone, uh, every farmer begins to kind of tend in the early light of an early sunrise. You'd be able to do what you wish to do here, probably. As you come, it's going to be early to, sorry, it'd be mid to late morning by the time you really reach the full extent of the farmers. What do you wish to do in this farmland?
You see, if we didn't rise until the sun did, the day would be almost at an end.
Let's just pick one.
Yeah, I suppose, do we see any farmers working their fields or going about their business? Yeah.
Yep, there's as you progress, imagine you being kind of stopping and even just like if you wish to have like talk to someone as you go along. Um, in the early morning, perhaps none, but as it's growing thicker in the day, absolutely. There's many. There's toiling. They're beginning to sow the land with more seeds as the snow is almost completely retracted from this place. It's just puddles of mud now as the summer winds are coming and melting the snow. Some, tending to their animals, some heaving with big shovels, carving new wells. Many farm tasks are being done in this day. It's a productive day, finally, as Winters has released her grip on the world and allowed those toilers to toil.
I would just walk at the edge of the road and yell at someone that's close to the road. Excuse me, good sir.
He kind of just looks up from a wide brim hat, chewing on a stalk of grain as he's using a strange timed instrument to carve little paths through the dirt. Hi, good morning to you.
Morning. Might we ask you some questions?
What?
Some. I'll just hop over the squat fence and walk in the closer. Some questions.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Kind of just like chalantly kind of walks out along, crossing this like half-mile distance. It seems over this flat land with his rake, kind of almost like a little miniature walking stick. Is using it.
We're sent by Lord Uthric to take care of the beast.
Oh my! Oh my! Well, that's good news for once.
Would like us, like to help, but we require your help first. Tell us all you've heard or know. Anyone who must have first-hand experience with this.
We want to know about the beast. You want to head down that way. You can see for yourself. Old Kudaman down the road there. He's lost 6 sheep to that beast. Still there. You can see it yourself.
Oh, very well. Thank you.
I'd bring a cloth if I were you to cover your mouth with the smell.
Thanks for the tip. I'll just walk around and get back into the road. So the farmer up that way still has some cattle dead. Maybe we can check out the corpses.
Perfect.
And the walk is long, but you're able to kind of approach this man's farmland. And the smell hits you quite suddenly as you smell the smell of kind of rotting meat. There's you kind of see there's a bit more of like flies that hang in the air near here, and you can see them a man toiling out in a different section of this farmland, and he'd see you approach, kind of just staring. Excuse me, he's kind of just staring at you as perhaps you're just travelers, just seeing where you're headed, paying you almost no heed, but just almost like idle curiosity.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
We're sent by Lord Rutheric for the beast. We wish to slay.
Oh, bloody hell, that's good news.
We need
You
to
have
look
coin?
up. No, we don't need coin.
No, I said, do you have coin for the reparations?
No.
For the loss of my cattle?
First, where is your cattle? We need to inspect it.
Oh, just over there. He'll kind of like throw down his shovel, as he'll kind of like walk up and lead you, all four of you, to the place where his cattle. He kind of, as you approach, mind the smell if I were you. Try to dig him up and bury him, but damn smell is too goddamn awful. Covered in spines they were.
So, tell me what happened.
I didn't see it myself. It's just in the morning. It's just they were all dead. Just past here. He kind of steps over a little brook,
No sounds.
and you can
or
see it
screams.
yourself. There is a mound of, not even a mound, excuse me, just like the range itself. You see 6 cattle corpses. They're on their sides. They're being kind of buzzed at by flies. The ground is slick with kind of a reddish brown. There's a god awful stench to this place. The corpses seem like half eaten, definitely butchered and like massacred. Though still flesh clings to the bones, but the flesh is rotten and decaying and crawling with maggots in the morning sun.
Is there any way, I think Felrus would take a closer look. Is there any way we can tell what kind of wounds these are? Whether they're like bite marks or scratches from claws or something like that? Anything that can tell us how the beast looks?
Absolutely. And as you look upon this corpse, you can see that the meat seems shredded, wrenched from bone. It looks like an animal attack of some kind. Though a closer look would warrant like whether you see actual teeth marks or claw marks. You also see something very peculiar: is like quills dug into the flesh, even into the meat and sinew of this creature, like long little spines sticking out.
I think that Felrus would probably, putting a piece of fabric over his hand, take the quill and try and pry it out of the flesh.
And they pull it out, and it kind of catches a bit on the flesh and kind of pulls out. And you realize this isn't really a quill. You've pulled out a splinter. It's definitely a shard of wood, of branch.
He would kind of lift it up so that the others can see. Looks like this cow got a sliver.
I would walk over. say, Kandra might take in the good farmer aside and question him.
Yeah, she'll nod and go and say good morning, and be collegial and try and be in good terms with the farmer.
Uthrix men, are you? People.
We hear about his business. Yes.
I've asked that man for coin. My family can't eat anymore. Our milk's gone. Our beef in a year is gone. Oh, this has brought ruin to our family. It's absolute ruin.
I can
Surely
see
you-
that this is truly devastating to yourself and other farmers in the area. This beast seems ravenous and insatiable.
Glad that
And
our Lord has done something about it. He kind of like throws his hand up and down, like almost like angrily at like you. It's like
Yeah.
doing something about it,
well, that's why we're here, yes. Is there anything that you've seen with your own eyes?
Nothing. I did not see the beast myself.
Any odd scent, smells, or odd tracks? No? Odd behavior of the animals?
Tracks. It was gone before I even went to see. It's plain as day. What I've seen is those cattle rent apart and eaten, butchered like some savage bear or wolf. Do you see those quills? It's probably some kind of quilled wolf.
Aye, that is a strange detail. That's why I wonder if you'd seen or smelt anything. So these cattle here, they were killed. They were taken just last night. Is that correct?
2 nights ago.
2 nights. And are these your first cattle, or you've had many
Well,
strikings?
first time I've been struck this far out.
Hmm.
Down, of course, keep going that way, and you hear much of the same stories like mine, but nowhere up road of here you'll ever find anyone losing cattle to this damn beast.
Mm.
But
And as they're talking, like she's sharing some like dried meat with him as they sort of chew and talk. Who else nearby? So you're the furthest away. You're the furthest east that's been struck. Is that right?
aye. Well, there's blood. He just gives you a list of just
Yeah,
12
yeah.
names of
Yeah.
just like these families that have like lost something to this beast. Whether he doesn't even distinguish between whether it's a single chicken or like 3 horses or like a pig. The dog, the family dog. A child. Have all been lost to this beast.
Mm. And she would like be interested and appear interested and like be as engaging as she can in asking more follow-up questions about each of them, and really sort of get the conversation going and try and just ascertain like a sort of timeline, I guess, as to how long, try and figure out how long this thing's been operating for and its movements. Like it seems it's moving from west to east, and over what time frame that is, and whether it operates obviously only at night, and how many days between attacks and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I only able to get impartial information from him. Though there definitely seems to all be attacks at night. No one's ever seen the thing. Though he does say that someone has seen the thing. An old drunkard man, well into his years, half blind, who lives on the porch of his son's home. Old man Berrig.
Ah, Beric. And she sort of looks in the direction that he's pointing when he says where that is, and notes that to go and follow up for one of the next leads. And is that's to the west, I assume, right? He's the furthest east. That's been struck.
Other way. This is the furthest
Oh,
west. So you have
sorry.
to
Yeah,
go
that's right.
eastwards. Yeah.
It's been coming from the east. That's right, and moving west towards the thing. Yep.
Yeah. Which you'll note is it's coming from a way that's on the opposite side of the white wood and the roots. But you notice that this seems to be distinct from the roots itself.
Yeah.
As the farther you go eastwards, the farther you're getting from the roots, but also you get closer to the forest, the fanged weald.
Yeah.
And so you're able to kind of like really cohesively realize that this is not coming from the roots at all. It seems.
Yeah, definitely a creature from the forest, and she would try and find out because she says, sort of speculatively as they're chewing and talking, must be staying somewhere at nights, must be lairing somewhere. Is there many wooded areas around?
Like just the fanged weald itself. Every other damn tree's been cut down, built to build these houses, timber by timber.
It's a long way for it to travel every night.
Must have swift legs then.
Well, she was sort of clap him on the shoulder as she hands him one final piece of dried meat. Thank you for your time. We'll see what we can find out. We'll get this beast.
Thank the gods you've arrived. Thank you.
And she'll say actually ask him how his relations are with the farmers sort of further west, with the trajectory that this thing's going. Maybe suggest that he goes and sends word ahead for people to start bringing their livestock in and secure them a bit more and things like that.
He's like, they know. They've been doing that. I thought I was safe up this far west, but it took me by surprise. It's making everyone else worry for their own folk. Starting even to take their own animals and leave their houses behind. Just go to the road and just bide their time westward at places of cousins and relatives.
Live like the herdsmen of the north. Why not?
Herdsmen of the north don't have a warm stove and roofs over their heads.
Well,
Just want this damn beast gone. We all think everything can go back to normal. I want my damn coin so I can buy some more pigs and cows off of these other farmers. You need something.
while
Nice.
Kandra is talking, I would summon my hummingbird and check out whether this stench is natural to shed so far in, and there is anything magical, these splinters, or just there was shrapnel by any fight.
Perfect. Yeah. Give me that intelligence roll.
Yeah, that's a fail.
You can't tell at all. You have no idea whether it's magical in nature or not. It's definitely strange, though you have no idea to what strangeness. Rabid beast, or perhaps something even stranger. You see no reason in any of what's been happening, in any of the corpses at all. It just seems entirely animalistic. Fellows from Gothric, you're examining the corpse as well? So you've pulled out this splinter, and I'm not talking like a little baby splinter you might get in your finger. It's massive. It's maybe even 6 inches long, the size, the length of your hand almost in size. And there's dozens of them, hundreds perhaps even, jutting out of the flesh of the rotting, maggoted cow flesh.
You can eat the cow.
And you look and see there's definitely the cow has definitely been eaten more than just by the maggots, but it's also been quite left behind.
Mm.
If you want to really examine the entrails of the cow, that'll be some kind of test.
No, as in like it's just the question of like, did the beast like eat the cow or did it just kill the cow?
There's there's definitely flesh missing
Okay. Yeah.
besides just like what flies would do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks like there's definitely portions of the cow that have been eaten, but strangely they haven't all been eaten, and like
Yeah.
all of the cows are like half eaten.
Is it the same half? Like, is there something like consistent with the eating pattern of it?
You'll have to make me an intelligence test then to kind of like look
Okay.
at the patterns, any kind of similarities.
Oh, I guess I... Ooh, that's a pass.
So what you notice is that it's always the bellies that are being eaten and devoured. Specifically, you note that none of the cows have their major organs. They're all missing their liver, they're all missing their heart, and they're all missing their lungs. Though you find their intestines, you find their ribs, you find, uh, their legs are mostly intact. Like one of the, their necks, their backs. Uh, Most of the cuts of meat that you're aware of, that a human butcher might prize on a cow, they're all mostly intact beyond just like, the belly itself. That's been just like ripped open. And yeah, you notice that they're all missing their major chest organs: liver, heart, and lungs.
Maybe to the disgust of others, maybe not. Felris would totally have like opened up so that people could see in and point that out definitely to Gothric and Darren. Just all these organs are gone here.
Left the meat.
Big eater.
The splinters are wood, like actual wood, or
They definitely appear to be. And if you try to like strike them to see if they burn, they do. You can like kind of pull them apart with like your fingers. They peel like a wooden splinter would, like the fibers of it.
right.
And no splinters seem to be the same. They're all like weird and jagged and mismatched. Different thicknesses, different lengths, different sharpnesses, different protrusions, etc.
I do think Falris would turn to Darren just because he's maybe has, and he would ask like, "Have you seen anything like this before? Feeding like this?"
I've never came across any wooden splinters like this, but would I know any beast or monster that is a big eater like this?
Um, uh, I'd say yes. I think that you would know that there is something. I think with your magical knowledge, there's something innately powerful and almost like supernatural about the organs of the body, versus just the meat. Um, you know that the way they line up in the human body has like sacred geometry to it. You know that the different organs produce the different four humors that balance out the parts of your soul to make sure that you're actually intelligent. As you know that a lot of magic involves these organs, and so a beast that eats it definitely would be more than just a wolf or a bear or a mountain lion.
I can definitely say this is a magical monster.
Is it made of wood?
Hard to say. When it goes into the magic category, anything's possible.
It at least
This
has
isn't
wooden
gonna be
parts.
maybe.
Well, these spines seem to be at least vaguely maybe wood or some sort of fiber. But they burn.
I'd say definitely the fire is our friend.
We should try and buy some oil.
Hmm. This should be tricky. Looks powerful. To kill so many animals that fast before the farmer could see anything. Fast, wooden quills, magical beast. Let's go further east.
You're wishing to talk to the old drunkard, Burrig.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's basically the only one that's definitely has seen and heard the beast himself. Though he's half blind and a very famous drunkard in these parts.
The
Known for
mandatory UFO abductee.
yeah, exactly. He's got UFO conspiracies and chemtrail conspiracies, essentially, if you were to live in this day and age. Um, and so the trail down this part of the path is long, and on the horizon you can see in the hills is beginning to see the tops of the trees of the fanged Weald itself. They almost burst from the ground like a strange mold growing on a piece of bread. The only kind of patch of greenery in the long stretch of farmland. It seems small at first, though as you continue to kind of walk this way up these hills and down these rolling pathways and roads, it's definitely grows and grows and grows as you approach, showing just the true size of this forest. It's quite large. It's approximately a hex in size, despite you know how small people want to suggest it is. You can find the abode of the son of old drunk Berig, um, and this this Gunter's farm, uh, and he would see you come. He's sitting on the kind of on a kind of a tree trunk that's acting almost like a stool here as he's taking a break. You can see that his skin is brown and dark. This farmer, uh, tanned well from the sun of working. It seems he's finished at least half a day's of labor, if not more. And he'd see you approaching on this roadway. Hello there, he would shout, seeing that there's travelers down here, which is not the case.
Hello yourself.
Where are you off to this time of day?
We're hunting a monster.
And he'd just like kind of just realize, oh crap, this is it's not just any kind of idle traveler, though insane they would be to travel this far. And he kind of alerts to this. Are you here for the beast?
We are. We hear that you've spoken with it, or seen it, or something.
That's my father. Not I. Not I. Thank the gods you've come. And he definitely puts a plural at the end of gods.
Yep. Where's your father?
It's up on the porch as he always is. You can find him by his whistling. And you can, if you hear for it, you can definitely hear just an off pitch whistling. It's a bit too shrill to be nice. And meeting with this old, half blind, old man Berig, he's kind of just like leaning back. He's wrinkled. He's old. His beard stretches down past his belly button. Even his eyes are like glazed white, like stones. He's just mumbling between his whistles. It's art. As he's got some kind of something very very thick and heavy in a mug in a horn next to him that he's kind of taking sips out of.
Oh boy.
He barely even notices your approach.
Oh man.
Ah, here. As he kind of like startles to see at your arrival. What's this?
You hear that you've seen the beast.
I have.
What did it look like?
It was dark. It was at night. I saw the beast, and I saw its eyes glue like little stars, red, soft red. My skin went cold. They weren't eyes. There's one of them, not two. And it wasn't eyes. It's more like one of those little torch bugs that flies at night.
What shape did it have?
Well, I didn't see
Large?
it. I didn't see its full shape. Just its eye and its front.
Very good. What noise did it make?
Oh, it was massive, big, lumbering movements. I saw it crush trees as it walked, as it emerged from the wield itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing up close, so didn't even know how I got there.
No, indeed. A mystery. Gothar could like turn over his shoulder, look at the others and say this, like, I think with his face, like it'll be clear this man knows nothing and he's making it up.
Yeah.
How long ago did you see this beast?
Whoa, it was 3 weeks ago, as the snow was first melting. I seen it again 1 week ago. 6 days, I think. No, 7, 8. No. Is it snow melt today? No. Day before snow melt. So 6 days ago. No.
That was helpful.
I hate to point out the obvious, but your eyes are looking a little milky for you to be able to see the beast, such as you claim.
I got fine eyes. They work for me, serve me well, and they continue to work for me ever still. And he's not quite looking at you. He's kind of like squinting. And he's the best sharpshooter in all of the Emperor's army. I was. Shoot a doe's eye from 600 yards away.
Okay, thank you for your help. Most valuable. We'll be sure to slay the beast.
Oh, to slay that great thing. Well, you'd need something big, axes and hammers and swords and bows and arrows and even the gods' blessings themselves.
Got all that taken care of. Don't you worry.
And don't look into its eye. It makes your skin grow cold. Stop seeing your tracks.
Okay.
Felrus,
Turn around and walk away.
Felrus wants to make kind of a show of like taking out a dagger very, very carefully and like very obviously to the man. And like he's going to take it and he just wants to throw it so that it hits right in front of where the man is sitting to see if he flinches before he hears the noise, essentially.
The dagger impacts the wood. He's like, ah, damn birds! As he kind of pulls his mead horn away. So he did not even flinch when you threw it, and he thought it was a bird, perhaps, trying to steal his drink.
Yeah, Felrus just laughs. And
I
goes,
think Kendra joins in, like.
yeah.
You've been most helpful. Have a good day. A blessed day.
You too, sons and daughters of the great gods.
Oof.
He like goes to take a step and then stops and then like closes his eyes and like takes a breath and then keeps walking.
They're simple folk, Kendra says, patting Gothric on the shoulder.
Ignorance is not an excuse for heresy. The man has suffered enough, I think.
And piety is not an excuse for murder.
It's not murder if the god decides it is not.
And with that piece of information from this old half-blind drunk, that's going to end our session. And perhaps we tackle the Fanged Wield next session. So thank you all for playing. Thanks you all for watching. Thanks you all for being rad. We'll catch you next time.